Okay, listen up, Marines. Our mission is simple. Simple search and recovery.
Doing this, right? I'm in. The hard work is done. Now it's time to get paid.
What could they have? That's above my pay grade. And yours.
Sarge, we got him. We're holding him in the maintenance shed.
I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
Ooh, I don't know about you, but I want to play the Alien RPG right now. And I gotta tell you, I'd watch that movie. Hi there, I'm Dave Hunt, owner of GameMasters Guild, and today I'm gonna take a look at Free League Publishing's Alien Destroyer of Worlds cinematic scenario. And also, right out the gate, I'd like to thank Free League Publishing for sending me this copy of Destroyer of Worlds to review. I didn't have to mention them, they didn't say anything about it, but I thought it was noteworthy, and I really appreciated that they decided to send me a copy. Thank you again, Free League. Alien Destroyer of Worlds is a cinematic scenario in a box set, and I originally thought it was going to be coming out in a hardcover book. I don't know why, but I just thought that. But it's actually a box set, and it's only $29.99. This thing is a steal. I mean, you've got the scenario book, you've got a huge double-sided map of the Arcus colony on one side and the Fort Nebraska space elevator on the other. You got 7 pre-generated characters to choose from. There are custom cards for weapons, vehicles, and personal agendas, and other player maps and handouts. I mean, for a $30 box set, there's actually quite a bit here. And in a minute, I'm going to show you the maps, and I got to tell you, I think you're really going to like them. Now, what I like about who am I kidding what I like? I like all of this stuff. I've been looking at this stuff for days now. Just like the Alien RPG, the cinematic box set and book also has this beautiful custom art on it. Again, you're not going to find any images ripped from the movies. You're going to have all this beautiful custom art. Now, of course, in the scenario book, there's not going to be a whole lot of it because they get right down to business. Literally, you open the cover, you flip the page, and you are right into it. Now, usually most other books, you know, they've got a table of contents, some other fluff, maybe even an index in the back, or some other like appendices. But in here, nope. It is all right here, ready to go, and as you need it, it's available. Now, as when you run any module, you should always definitely read through the module first and acquaint yourself with where everything's at within the module. Tables, charts, NPCs, maps, get an idea of how the plot's going to flow. And right in the beginning, they definitely spell everything out for the game mother as to exactly what's going on and what you need to know. And I gotta tell you, for as small modules this is, there's a lot in here. And they've really got a lot of different layers. And quite frankly, you could do a lot with this cinematic scenario. I really think you could. This is a place where you could come back to again and again. And also, not just as Marines, but come back as maybe just space truckers or just Wayland personnel. There's a lot of cool options with this. And I gotta tell you, I really like all the effort that Free League puts into the Alien RPG, especially with the maps. Let's take a look at the maps. I really enjoy maps from a player standpoint and a Dungeon Master standpoint, especially when they're maps of something completely different that I haven't seen before. And let's take a quick look at these maps. First up, we've got player maps for the colony itself, and they're even labeled player map. This is Marshall Station, and then we have the Eye of Oblivion. On the backside of each of these, we have again the San Rocco Medical Facility, oil refinery on the bottom, Insurgent Compound, and here we have the Fort Nebraska Ammunition Depot and Weapons Testing Facility. And then we have the best map in the box, and that's this huge map that they have. So you have this huge, gorgeous map of Fort Nebraska, as well as the climber car for the space elevator. And I think that's what's really cool, is the space elevator. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw anyone address a space elevator in any sci-fi game, at least not that I can remember or that I've played. And I think this is great because I could use this for anything else. But for playing Alien, this really, you could use this in so many different scenarios. Your players get tired of seeing space elevators, but I think it's really cool. But let's take a look at the backside. This is cool too because this really lets you expand upon this particular scenario or to create your own. And this is the Ariarchus colony. This thing is giant. Down here they got a small map of Fort Nebraska, and here it's literally a map of the colony. I mean, this thing's like, this is a big city. This is huge. This is gigantic. I mean, you could easily rehash this as any other colony anywhere else. You could possibly even use it for an area on Earth somewhere if you really wanted to. I mean, this is great. I mean, you can really have all sorts of different adventures in here other than just what's in the book. Especially you get a wild hair and decide you want to do something different in the scenario, you want to break away. And these maps, man, they're simply the best. I mean, just the level of detail and thought that went into them, you could just so easily use it anywhere else at any time. And I just can't get enough of maps. I mean, these things are awesome, and you could really use them just time and time again, not just for this particular scenario, but anytime you're playing the Alien RPG, you could very easily use these as maps for other colonies, other locations. A lot of times, maps are very, very, very specific to the scenario in question, and in this case, it's no different, but however the way the maps are done, such as a space elevator, it could be a space elevator anywhere. The colony, the layout of the colony, you just ignore the name, and it could be any colony anywhere else in the Alien universe. I think they really knocked it out of the park on these maps. You can really, like I said, you can really use it for any other colony, and it doesn't have to be civilian. It can be military, it can be company-based, or mixture thereof. There's so many different things you could use these maps for, and there's no way you're going to feel like you're pigeonholed with these maps that they're only good for this box set. You can definitely use them for other stuff. All right, now let's take a look at some of the other stuff that they have in this box set. Let's take a look at the characters. There are 7 pre-generated characters, and the players are only going to use 4. And all the pre-made characters, they're completely fleshed out, ready to go. So all you got to do is pass them out around the table and let your players pick. Now again, keep in mind, this scenario is designed for 4 players. And only 4 players. And it's also kind of designed as a grinder, and the Alien RPG can be kind of brutal in that fact. So at least you have 3 backup characters as players die, which they probably will if you run this. At least there are extra characters available for them to assume the role of. And these characters, they already give you ideas in the module about how to stage these characters and where these guys can be waiting in the wings. And even if they're not conveniently placed, it's easy enough to drop them in within a few minutes, so that way no one's sitting out of the game for an unexpectedly large amount of time. Because you definitely don't want your players sitting. Or let's say random chance someone else drops by and wants to play, so instead of 4 you have 5. You might have to adjust your game a little bit, but at least you have up to 3 extra characters that you could drop in. Although the more people you put in, I think it's possible the module might not be as fun, and you might have to really amp it up. And also too, if someone dies and you've already handed out all your character sheets, you might be running a little short. But what I've done in the past for some of my one-shots here at GameMasters Guild, I'll actually take pre-made characters like these and I'll photocopy them. So I'll have each of these, and I'll have basically an extra copy of each. So instead of 7, I'll now have 14, and then I just scratch out the names and hand them out. And you know, we just try not to worry too much about the fact that these 2 guys are playing exactly the same character, but they're a different name. But it's not about the numbers, it's about the role playing, it's about the action, it's about the storytelling. So I try not to worry too much about that. And then after the game's over, even if you got 2 guys that are playing the same character, then they could sit down and somebody could roll up a fresh character, or they could both roll up a fresh character to plug in that universe if they survived. All right, so characters are pretty sweet. And I like it too, because character sheets, they're not small. You know, everything's spread out, lots of room to work. Cool. All right, now let's take a look at the cards. So we've got personal agenda cards. We've got your NPC cards. We've got your vehicle cards. And we have your story cards. Now these are very specific to the Destroyer of Worlds scenario, although I suppose you could probably use these again, but they're supposed to be used specific for the Destroyer of Worlds. And I won't spoil anything for you, but as the story progresses, there are certain things that happen, and you'd have to hand these out. Now let's look at the vehicle cards. Okay, so we've got a couple familiar things here, a couple not familiar things. We've got the Daihotai series tractor, just like from the beginning of Aliens when Newt's family was going out and they discovered the wrecked ship. We've got the classic armored personnel carrier that we saw in Aliens as well. We've got the classic Cheyenne style dropship. We've got some other things that we haven't seen before, such as the Ridgeway heavy tank, crocodile dropship. What else? We've got a Mycoan multi-purpose vehicle. And we've got a couple weapons too, like the M5 RPG launcher, as well as the AK-407 pulse assault rifle. And these are there to hand out to your players, and they got quick stats, or for you for reference, so you can refer to them at a moment's notice. NPC cards. I love NPC cards because it has a nice quick illustration of the NPC on the front, and there are quite a few. And a lot of these guys are some key NPCs. Plus, they've got all their stats on the back. And also, if you're running, let's say you're doing a homebrew alien campaign, you can easily just pull one of these out of the box and you have an NPC ready to go. Or you can even hand it to maybe a late arrival, a player, and say, here, I guess you're going to play Myers today. And just hand him Myers and he's good to go. Sure, you might have to get out a notebook and a pencil and make some additional notes, but at least they're there. And nice quick reference, easy. They're small, especially when you're hiding behind the game mother screen. That way, because space is precious back there, you don't have a lot of space, so it's pretty good to have these. You can easily stand them up in a little holder or just lay them down and lay them over each other and refer to them as needed. Next up are the personal agenda cards, and the personal agendas are handed out to each of the players. Now at the end of each act, if the game mother feels like that player has significantly managed to advance their personal agenda despite great personal risk or cost, then that player gets an additional story point. This module, man, I gotta tell you, this module really exemplifies that dark, gritty alien universe with corporations doing stuff behind the background. There's political intrigue. You've got the Marines at the center of it all, and a straightforward mission just isn't. It's pretty dark, it's pretty gritty, it's grim, it's very graphic, that's for sure. And if you're looking for something like that, if you're looking for that feel, Destroyer of Worlds is definitely going to be in your wheelhouse. I think the whole Alien RPG alone is going to be in your wheelhouse if you like kind of dark, that dark gritty future. I mean, it's kind of grim, you know, in a way. And in some instances, like if you're playing Space Truckers, it's that, you know, monotonous drudgery punctuated with moments of sheer terror. And it's just something interesting about playing a game like this that brings that out. There are some of you out there who are probably wondering, why would I even play in such a dark, grim world? Especially when the character I've made could die so easily. Well, I don't know. I think it's the same reason why we like to watch horror movies or thrillers. From the safety of our home, we can experience these dark, grim, foreboding worlds, and at the end of a few hours, be completely safe. And the whole time, we can be scared, fascinated, and disgusted, but at the same time, we know in a few hours, it'll be over, and everything will be okay, and everything will be all right, because it's just make-believe. And I think that's the fascination with horror movies and horror games. It provides this element of fear and danger that you can experience from the safety of a table with a bunch of friends having a good time, eating chips and drinking soda, and maybe even having a couple beers. So if you haven't even tried Alien RPG, you need to try it. And if you get the chance, you need to play Destroyer of Worlds. I think it's going to be a great fit for the Alien universe. And there's also some callbacks to the Chariot of the Gods scenario that they had. So you may want to check that out as well. Add that to the collection if you haven't already. I also like to take a little bit of time to thank everyone who helped out making the Alien of Worlds trailer that I had at the beginning of this first look for Alien Destroyer of Worlds. And starting at the top, I want to thank my wife Valerie. I want to thank all my employees, Gareth, Andrus, Ulysses. I want to thank Ulysses' wife, Ashley. I also want to thank my friends Glenn, Travis, John, and Calvin for also being in it and helping me out. So anyways, I just like to thank all y'all. I really appreciate your hard work, and I think it's a pretty cool trailer. It was fun, had a good time doing it. I hope you guys had a good time watching it. And, well, I guess that's going to be it. Again, I'm David Hunt, owner of GameMasters Guild, telling you to stay safe, play the Alien RPG, and be scared in the safety of your own home with friends. Stay safe, play great games, and I'll see you real soon. Thanks for watching.